This is Jazmine with Listen to Your Single Friend. We're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the lonely. Hi guys, welcome back to the show. This episode, we have a guest host. Hi, Micah.
Hey, y'all.
Alrighty, we are going to be talking about emotionally unavailable men. So I decided I needed a male guest host to help me with this topic. First things first, let's keep the conversation going on Instagram and Facebook. That is Listen to Your Single Friend. Twitter is Your Single FRND. Make sure to tune into our accounts on Fridays for Screenshot Friday. Also, as you know, Listen to Your Single Friend is a book. So make sure to sign up for the book mailing list to get information on release dates, pre-orders, etc. Go to the website listentoyoursinglefriend.com. I am uploading these episodes to YouTube. I'm seeing my followers tick up a little bit. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe on YouTube, whether you actually listen to the episode there or not. All right, real quick, we're going to get into our trivia throwback from the last episode. Micah, I'm going to let you take a stab at this before I give out the answer, okay?
Okay.
All right. 40% of people say 6 months to a year is long enough to decide whether to move in with a partner or not. True or false? 40% of people say 6 months to a year is enough time to decide whether to move in with bae.
That's interesting because I know typically folks say 6 months to 2 years, the honeymoon phase or whatever. So 40%. I would have thought that'd be a bit higher. So I'm gonna say false.
It's wrong. So it is true. But I think you were going exactly where I was going to go with this though.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it does make sense because I was just talking to my guy friend about this, and he was saying kind of the same thing that you were oh, it just takes you such a long time to get to know people.
Right.
I think this, you know what I mean? We were just talking about we were actually talking about marriage and how long it takes people to get to realize that they want to get married to somebody. My thing is, I said this before, I feel like people be knowing for some people 6 months is still a talking stage. But when you know
yeah.
So
that's exactly what dudes be saying, because trust me, I might be jumping ahead of the curve here, but when the dude know,
he know. I said this before. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
I don't care what they be telling you. They show you something totally different. He be knowing. He just scared of the fact that he know. He just scared of the fact that he know.
They know pretty early. So when I read that, I was like, and that's the thing, now are they gonna actually move in at 6 months? No. I know people who have moved in that quickly and they're working out just fine. But hey, all I have to say is some folks still be in the talking stage of 6 months. I don't believe in the talking stage. 6 months, we shitting or we gonna get off the pot. You know what I mean? At that point, people making plans for when their next lease is up. You know what I mean? And other people still what are we? You know what I mean? It's the head-assery for me. That's why I did a whole episode about that.
It's the inconsistency as well.
Yeah.
When you got an idea, you're gonna move on that idea.
Yeah. I know for me, it's going to happen pretty quickly. At my big age, Micah, Micah, you know me. If I make it to 6 months with a man, I'm going to know if I want to move in with him.
That's something that they make it to 6 months. Listen, because I be waiting to see is they gonna make it to that month or that quarter of the year gone. I be treating your stuff like it's a 90-day probation period at GM.
Listen.
I be trying to see if they gonna make it to the benefits.
So do I. All right, before Micah starts dragging me and we get into the show, let's actually get to know this character. Micah is a good friend of mine. He has actually played this game before. I tell you guys that this is a drinking game, but he's actually played this game. We play this game all the time, Micah. Do we not?
Yes. We've had some stories because of this.
So you guys know the rules of this game by now. and Micah knows the rules too, but just for anybody new, this is the hot seat game. I'm gonna start a timer and I'm gonna rapid fire some questions to Micah. Normally it's a drinking game, so if you don't want to answer the questions, you drink. Don't really have to do that on this show. These questions shouldn't be that hard. If you want to drink, you can, Micah, but or if you want to stay past, whatever. But Micah knows how this game goes. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into the hot seat. You ready, Micah?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. What's your love language?
All 5. Specifically, acts of service.
If you won $1 million tomorrow, what's your first purchase?
Student loans.
Okay. What is your relationship status?
Single.
What's the theme song to your life?
At this moment in time now, Watering My Plants by Larry June.
Okay. Do you have anything that's like autographed by a celebrity?
I actually had a football that was autographed by Billy Sims. It's autographed to my daddy, but he gave it to me, so okay. I'll count that as mine. And a big crit poster from when I went to a show back in like 2014.
Okay. Now, has the quarantine made your love life better or worse?
Better, I think. Yeah.
What's the last TV show you binged?
Snowfall.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Just Friends by Music Soul Child.
Okay. I don't feel like we did karaoke. Have we ever done? If we have, have we done karaoke together? Not
together. I did it with Janeda when she took me to the Brown Jug in Ann Arbor.
Okay. I feel like we have not done karaoke.
We got to set that up when I get to DC.
I consider myself the karaoke queen, okay? I cannot sing, but I love me some karaoke.
Hey, listen, I like the food that come with it too, so we can make that happen.
True that. Now, you mentioned that you were single, so I like to get to know what I say is your relationship facts. So you're single. How long have you been single? What was your longest single spell, longest relationship? Tell us your business.
You want the Micah facts? Is what you want?
Yes.
All right. Well, I've been single going on 6 months, and my longest single spell, if I recall correctly, was about a year, maybe like a year and some change. Kind of like when I first got out here to San Diego. Yeah, that was about a year and some change. Yeah, that lines up. Let's see. What else do I got to be giving you? What else do you need to know?
Longest relationship.
Longest relationship, 17 months.
Okay.
So what is that, like a year and 5 months?
Yeah,
I'm gonna do y'all like folks be doing their babies. How did your baby?
Right, I just have to say that. Everybody having these quarantine babies, so now I'm speaking and like, oh, the baby's like this many months. I'm just like, I'm one of them now.
Yes.
Tell us like your profile. Like, how old are you? You mentioned you're from San Diego. Like, you don't have to say where you work, but like just give us a general idea of who you are.
All right. Well, I'm Micah Stewart. I'm 29 years old. I was born in a little town called Pine Bluff, Arkansas. I moved to Flint when I was 5, where I lived until I was 25. And then I moved to San Diego. I got a job out here in my field. I'm an actuarial student, but my technical job title is actuarial analyst. So pretty much what that means is I price insurance. So if you want to understand why your car insurance is high, I'm the one you call, and I do the best I can with that. So I just I love lifting weights. I love math, trap music, and God. And as you can tell by the art in the back, I like music. I got a vinyl record player, an extensive vinyl record collection, and
tell them the one that you just got that I was really excited about.
Oh snap! Well, hold on, because I got so many.
You just got it. Remember, I tweeted you about it. I was so excited, and I made you send me a clip.
Was that the Lucky Day one?
No, it was D'Angelo.
Oh, Voodoo, right?
Yay!
Yes, Voodoo. Yes, it was Voodoo.
I was so excited about that. I made him send me a clip. Like I just not that I don't listen to it once a week, but I needed to hear it on.
Vinyl. Yeah, it's different when that needle hit the record. I didn't got I probably got because I just got Voodoo. I got Brown Sugar. I just got Lucky Days Painted album on deluxe. I just picked up Ari Lennox. I finally found Scissors Control album and everything like that. Whenever I see them, I just grab them. They don't be nothing but like $20 on Amazon. So when I see them, I get them.
So Future Bay need to be getting you records is what I'm
it's
understanding.
it's a good way to get in my good graces. I would
Okay.
definitely say that. Definitely.
All right. Let's get into the show. All right, guys. Now it's time for the quote of the day. Quote of the day is, let your love send off so much positive energy that it shifts the vibrations in the room.
Ooh.
I really like that. I felt that. I feel like Micah had a little shiver. Like,
What the gangsters be saying back in the drug movies, like they know I'm the boss when I walk through.
yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just so like big on energy, and like as I've been working through my own April challenge, I gotta go on 2 dates this month. Like
Yeah, you
I
gotta
have had
catch up.
to check myself. I need to be a little. This where Mike about to drag me. I know that I need to be a little bit nicer. You know.
Yes. Yes. Give some grace. Damn.
I need to be a little bit nicer, and I love powerful people. I love good vibes. I love good energy. And sometimes we forget that, like, especially in dating, like, yeah, dating can suck. Yes, some of these men suck, but like, don't carry that with you. When you're
Yeah.
interacting with people, you could be that light and be that
Mhm.
good energy out there on Bumble and Tinder and all the dating apps. So you be that energy that shifts the room.
I'm about to get in my PK background. You know, what they say, like, be the light of the Lord that you wish other folks to see. That's the same thing and everything else. I tell my homies all the time, if you out here fussing about what girls ain't kicking it with you, that gives off. You know what I mean? Desperation
Yes.
precedes you, confidence precedes you, how you talk about yourself precedes you, how you treat
Yes.
yourself shows them how you treat others. So if you worry about what's on your front porch, everybody else gonna see your house is clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 And I talk about the law of attraction a lot. Like it is really about the energy you put out there. And like I said, I do acknowledge that dating like I said, I've had to check myself. Like, oh my God, this guy, like I almost scored one of my dates. Okay. So I'm like in the thick of it. But he had messaged me and he was like, what are you doing on Monday? And I was just
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm like going to be like doing stuff for my show or whatever the case may be. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I wanted to see if you wanted to hang out, but okay. So, you know me, I'm just like,
You still could have asked.
are you going to ask me when I'm
Right,
free
like,
ever? And I don't do hanging out.
mhm.
Like, so, but I'm like, check yourself. Cause first of all, I got to meet this challenge. I cannot
Yeah.
not meet this challenge. So I was just like, so
Mhm.
did you want to schedule a date for later on in the week?
Look at
So
you taking control.
listen, if
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have this damn challenge, good and goddamn well, he wasn't gonna hear from me again.
What wouldn't have happened, huh?
It wouldn't have happened. Cause I
Sure
was
would.
just like you asked me if I was free, but then I said I wasn't, and then it's just like, oh, okay. Like, are you just gonna like wilt? Like, are you melting right now? Let me stop.
Right.
I am going against quote of the day right now. I got into a mode.
Watch your energy. Watch your energy.
Listen.
Mhm.
I don't do this show because I feel like I have made it and succeeding as a successful single and dater. Like,
Mhm.
so y'all just saw it in real time. Listen, so
Mhm.
I just told y'all I be having to check myself. So I
Mhm.
just checked myself. So
Hey, Michael Jordan always say, "I succeeded because I have failed."
yes,
So if you're honest with that, everything will be working. Everything will be cool.
yes. Put that positive energy out there. I put that energy out there, and that energy will be coming back to me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now it's time for goals and goofy. So during
I
this
love this.
segment, you what you say?
I love this
Oh
part.
my God. Everybody loves goals and goofy.
You be having a ball.
so so for those of you who don't know, goes and goofies is when we talk about anything pop culture, something I found on the internet, from a news article, whatever, related to dating and the single life. So, goes this week is actually going to be Kourtney Kardashian. She is dating Travis Barker.
Ooh, can the drummer get some? Okay.
Like, so here's my thing. I
Mhm.
fuck with Travis. Like, I feel like he a cool ass white boy. I've never I mean, I haven't looked into him, but from what I know about him in general, he seemed like a cool white boy to me.
Good love him.
Yeah, and I feel like now I do have like a general disdain for the clan, the Kardashians. Like, I've literally muted their name on Twitter. I dislike them so much. Like, but it's mainly because of their appropriation of Black culture. But like Courtney is like the only one who's like not really doing this transfiguration into some racially ambiguous kind of sort of Black woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she understands her role and she play it well.
She don't be dating all these Black men trying to get all these biracial kids. So on the scale of Kardashian, she is like the one that I don't hate the most. Does that I like her more than I like the others.
That's the one you hate the least.
Hate the least, yeah.
There you go.
I like
English will succeed in this episode.
I like her more than I like the other ones. So she's cool in my book. So like when it first dropped, everybody's like, this seems like an interesting like couple, but Courtney definitely has a type because her ex Scott, even though he was an asshole, she does kind of like, you know, kind of rough around the edges white boys. So I was just like, okay. Courtney,
I mean, I don't know too much about Travis either, besides him showing up on hip hop records playing drums and you know the other stuff he does and with his actual band and stuff like that. So, but one thing I can say, I'm a big no news is good news, and I ain't heard a thing about him yet.
Yep. And I hope that it stay that way because them Kardashians and that curse, you know. But Courtney is one of the better of the clan. So
yeah, that Kardashian curse, like Reggie Bush left Kim, his rushing numbers went up. Chris Humphries left. His stats got bigger. You know, it's a thing. James Harden became an MVP. Like it's a thing.
It's just that whole family is a mess. But one thing I wanted to point out is that I did read that Travis and Courtney were neighbors for, I think they said well over like 10 years. So
come on, girl next door.
Yeah, so this is a love thing that blossomed. So my takeaway from this and what made this goes for me was I just like that, like it could be somebody you know. And my homeboy was just talking about this at brunch the other day, and he was saying somebody said your wife is probably a woman you've already met, somebody you already know. So I just felt like this was goals because it really could be the person next door, figuratively. In their case, it was literally, but it could be the person next door, but it could just be that person that has been a staple in your life or just casually in your life for a long time, and you know one day it might be hidden for what it's hitting. You feel me? So.
Who know what God got to say at the end of the day. You never really know. You know, I'll say to this is that like the phone next door, it might not be in your state. So it's just you never really know. You don't know until you know. You like like even in the Bible, you know, like Ruth found my man. She had to go in the field, and that's how she found him. She ain't found him in the club. She ain't found him in the city. She had to work, and then she came across her. It's like, oh, I see you. All right, Boaz was like, what's happening? And then popped up on it, and that's how we got here. You never really know, so you can't move with a sense of generality. When you move with generality, and then you get disappointed, then you get your feelings hurt.
I agree. I think that goes back to what we just said in the quote of the day. Like it just goes to like being open-minded and being that energy and being that light. When you are on that vibe and on that energy, it's like it really could come from anywhere. You know what I mean? So I just felt like that was goals because shout out to y'all. They was neighbors the whole time and now they're bays. So
they was over there exchanging sugar and Kool-Aid. Oh wait, they don't do Kool-Aid like that.
No, they are Caucasian. They do not.
What they do? Lemonade. They be having the lemonade.
I haven't even had arrested,
Kool-Aid.
Right? Do people still drink Kool-Aid? I haven't even had Kool-Aid.
Yeah, they still drink that cancer juice.
You still drink Kool-Aid?
Not in my house, but when I go home, when I go home, you know, Reverend Stewart still got them in that utility drawer. They got everything in it. They got the duck sauce. They got the old condiments. The
oh my god,
plastic silverware with the napkin.
They ain't sharing no Kool-Aid, but they are goals of the week. All right, now it's time for Goofies.
Ooh, buddy.
All right, so I'm gonna read a series of tweets.
It's a thread.
It's a thread, and then we just gonna break it down. The title is Viral Side Nigga Story. Ooh. So just the background is apparently he went viral. He went out the country with his bae, and their out of the country photos apparently went viral. I haven't seen the photos of them that went viral, but he does allude to that. So that's the background. So says a couple things. He said, I met my ex off Instagram. I'm from Columbus. She lives in the Bronx. Long distance relationship for a year. It was cool. Distance bothered me, but we made it work. But after the first problem came about, it continued. This is some Tyler Perry shit. First problem. Micah, we got a story. We gotta get through this.
Yes, we gotta do it. I'm gonna shut up.
But because it's gonna be some moments. Mm-hmm. So, first problem. Shorty was basically acting single on Facebook. I approached her in a calm manner, telling her to chill. One nigga asked her, was her picture scratch and sniff, and her ass was entertaining it. I ain't tripped though. I just simply said to relax. She hit me up the next day, called me controlling, and broke up with me. I'm like, damn, this is the first argument. Then the following day, asked me if I was happy to have my hoes back. I'm like, damn, you broke up with me. Don't ask me shit. Told her I wasn't going to the Virgin Islands with her no more. So we almost didn't go viral, but she came to Ohio. We made up, went on our trip. Trip was beautiful, posted our pics, and of course, our shit went viral. He adds that he is a Scorpio and she is a Leo. So, yeah, I know, right?
I know what that means. Being messy. I don't know what that shit means.
So boom, 2 weeks after our trip, her ex-husband pulls up on her at her jump. I don't know what that means. What's that mean?
What was it?
He pulled up on her at her jump. Is that at her job? Is this a typo or is that like a colloquialism that I don't know?
I don't know either, so let's just go with job just for the sake of the story.
Okay. He pulled up on her at her jump trying to get her back. I told her to follow a restraining order. Shorty said that's too much. Red flag. I asked for dude's full name, but she gave me a fake name. Red flag. I stayed though. Why? Because I'm the real dark-skinned Drake. He was clowning. So next, when she broke up with me, I liked the ass picture. Somehow she found out, cussed me out, and I apologized. But she said, fuck that, I'm done. So I'm like, damn, again? It's only been 30 days since the first breakup. I'm a real one. So I said, fuck that. I'm going to go to New York and get my girl back. We made up, shit went back to normal. Mind you, I was also being a stepdad to her 11-year-old daughter. Planned to move them both out with me to Ohio. I dodged a bullet. So boom, November comes. It's my birthday weekend. Spent the entire weekend with her. Gifts, restaurants, found a way to surprise me. I was ready to marry her. You feel me? So now it's time for us to check out and for me to come back to Ohio. She started asking me if females hit me up trying to get at me. I'm like, nah. She said, if I asked to go through your phone, would you let me? I said, yeah. Why? Because I don't have shit to hide. I was in love. Her ass said, I don't think you could. You didn't even leave your phone around me. And he's like, you have my password. I'm telling you face to face that you can go through my phone. She claimed that I rushed her out the bathroom while I was packing my stuff and complained about, I guess he left his phone behind in the bathroom or took his phone when he was rushing her out the bathroom. So she took that as an issue. And so he said that you're making this shit a big deal and you need to relax. She paused, then asked for a kiss. Toxic ass Leo. I kissed her though. I'm glad that he just
silly ass Scorpio.
He is admitting to his failures, and I am so here for it.
Self-awareness is the best trait.
He said, I got home and told her I feel like she didn't trust me. She said, yeah, I don't, because you like that ass picture on Instagram. I said, what the fuck? I told her she shouldn't be with anybody that she doesn't trust. She said, you're right. I then asked, why are you here? She said she loves me and cares for me. I said, no, that ain't enough. This was the start of the end. Shit went completely left field, and she cussed me out, telling me I ain't shit. I'm still young. I guess she's 4 years older than him. Called him a narcissist, and he just said he went from Drake to Future real quick and kicked her ass to the curb. So the next day, I know. So the next day, she told me she was 2 weeks pregnant and was aborting the baby that following day. I said, this bitch is crazy, but I won't let her win. I was supportive of her, but I knew that if she brought up the breakup, that she was lying about being pregnant. Her ass lied. She went to a regular OBGYN. I looked it up after she sent me her confirmation email. Also found out that she was still legally married to her ex-husband. So he sends this long ass nasty mean message to her, basically dragging her because she was still married the whole time and she was lying about the pregnancy. So he said 2 weeks later, I'm on some salty shit, but I just wanted to know the truth. I asked her why she ain't just tell me the truth from the jump. Her ass said, I don't know why you're saying I'm still legally married. We didn't have a legal marriage. We had a spiritual wedding. And so he's like, so what that mean? Y'all had a spiritual divorce? And apparently she said yes. So he's just being all sorry. He said I was supposed to move her and her daughter in to Ohio this July. So yeah, this is how I became the viral side nigga on accident. The background is the same day I broke up with her was the same day my counselor called to start what was going to be couples counseling for them. But when she moved there, he said, I still went and I went by myself. Not only did I go to heal from that, but I also wanted to improve my mental. So in conclusion, if you've been through something, go get a counselor.
Listen, because he been silly the whole time. That was the smartest thing he did.
So I just want, can we count the red flags? Because I don't got enough fingers.
Like, even with me, I ain't got enough for you either.
Like, we can't even begin to count the red flags. For me, the number one sign that someone is cheating is when they start being over accusatory. Is that? Yes. Mm-hmm. When they start accusing you like crazy of cheating, there is, I ain't gonna put a number on it because people are gonna be mad, but there is a strong chance.
Yes. The projection be real.
It do. And to find out she was married the whole goddamn time, but also like, I like men like this, but I feel like men like this, like the fact that he like took care of her kid and like was gonna move them in, like men like this be falling for women like that all the time. I think it's that whole, like, someone said this when I was in high school, like, good boys like bad girls and good girls like bad boys. And it's just like, what? Why is it always like, he seems very giving, but it seems like he got caught up with, obviously she was the narcissist in this story, but like, they both are goofies. You may feel differently, Micah, but I'm calling this for both of them.
No. I'm only gonna say this because at a point in time in my life, I was in his space where I was doing things, and I wasn't even in a relationship. I was just in a space where I was trying to get there, and it never got there. And eventually, I had to recognize that it wasn't never gonna get there. And it's a hard thing to do because you be having a point to prove. You be having a point to prove, and when you feel like you about to make it, and it's there, it's a wrap. But like, it just, you gotta recognize the fact, like, she just ain't feeling you like that, bro. She feeling what you do for her, but she ain't feeling you. You like, as me and my homie, I got a homie named J-Rock down in Houston. Me and him always say, you see me as a function. You don't see me. You see what I do. You see what I give to you. You see,
strong words from J-Rod.
man, listen, that's my dog. We talk about this type of stuff often in the sense of, like, as men, what we always try to do, we always try to make sure the home front set. You know what I mean? We feeling you, we gonna try to make sure you straight. And a lot of times we do that, and we think that's some men use that as a means to get on, but some dudes are really genuine about it. You know what I mean? And so when you're trying to do that to get on, you're gonna keep doing it because you keep getting some kind of small reward. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. It's always like little shit. Like,
breadcrumbs.
Exactly. You follow the breadcrumbs, so you lead to the spot. She gonna talk to you a little bit more. You know, you're gonna get those little small indicators that this is work.
In that story though, because he talked about how she tricked him out for his birthday, and so for him, he was like, "Oh, this is it." It don't matter all the bullshit that happened before that. She did one little itty bitty thing.
You gotta be careful, but another thing, you gotta be careful of those dudes because you got a lot of dudes. You got dudes that'll fix your problems, and then you'll have dudes that'll support you while they help you fix your problems. If he just trying to take the whole thing on, that's a level of control. You know what I mean? Especially if they throw it back in your face. It's a level of control because it's like, I did this for you and I did X, Y, and Z for you.
People like to hold shit over your head. You right.
Exactly. Or you get the other side, same kind of thing, but they don't hold it over your head. But they start to resent you, especially if you don't return it in kind. You know what I mean? And like, they don't be tripping over it, nothing like that, but they hold it against you. And then when they start
keeping tabs, and that's just as bad, you know?
They get resentful, and that ain't cool. You know what I mean? That's big on. So reciprocity is a thing, but as that dude, you gotta understand. A lot of times that's coming from you trying to fill some void in your life that you never got filled, and you think that helping everybody else's stuff is gonna keep you straight. and everything gonna kind of keep you balanced and together, and that ain't gonna work. You got to deal with that on your own, because that
He
ain't
was
their job.
giving me Captain Save him. He was definitely giving me
That is
Captain
not
Save him.
that ain't that
He was
ain't
like,
that
I
ain't her
want you
job
to
to fix.
get my girl back, and I'm gonna move her in, and I'm just like,
And first of all, who want to go from New York to Ohio?
oh, you said it, not me. I got
and
people
listen,
in Ohio that listen.
I love folk in Ohio, but listen, Ohio gonna get these strays from me. They gonna get these strays. They gonna get these strays in their low skyline. They gonna get all these strays.
She don't sound like the type of woman that, just from what we know, she don't sound like she had her shit together. She sound like, I'm gonna be honest, he was a mark, and she sound like the type that picks marks. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I mean, New York is more expensive than Columbus, so he probably was like, "Come out here, I'm settled, I got my shit together, I'm gonna take care of you and your baby." You know what I mean?
She gonna be straight. Her money gonna be stacking, and then she gonna find that next sucker, and he gonna be high and dry and bank account a little bit lighter.
I am glad that this man did do the counselor PSA at the end. I thought that was the highlight of the story.
Jesus and the counselor. Yes, Lord. Jesus and the therapist.
I was so glad. He was like, in the end, just, make sure you go get counseling. I was like,
I'm glad he went. I'm glad he decided to take care of himself instead of always trying to take care of everybody else. Because I say all the time, I just tweeted this the other day. I said, you ain't got to do what's best for them. They gonna do what's best for them. You need to do what's best for you.
That's a word. That's a word right there. That's goofies this week, y'all. Like, and both of them get goofies. FYI, it ain't. I can't say
the goofy is
for him.
The goofy is equal opportunity.
Yes, because it is both of them. All right, it's time to get into our main segment. So I have some grievances, and I needed to bring one of my sensible male friends on the show. I feel like Micah gives good advice, because while he actively tries not to be a fuckboy, he does speak fuckboy. Like, y'all gonna see what I mean as we get through this. Like,
I'll say real quick. My thing is I've been trained by the 7 best players of all time, in my opinion. I just use my powers for good and not evil.
And I've said before, you always need to have a guy friend in your corner who's going to keep it a stack with you. And like, Micah is definitely a sounding board for me when I need to talk, because I just feel like he's a man that gets it. He's not always like, well, man, just, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he gets it, like he knows, like he just said, he knows what's out there. I feel like he is bilingual in fuckboy, but he's not actively, at least as far as I know, not actively into the fuckboyisms. Nah. So that is why I brought him on the show. Because today I want to talk about emotionally unavailable men. Some men do not have the range. And like I said, I got some grievances. So I want to start off with our experiences with emotional unavailability, and then we'll just get into how to spot the signs. So first of all, Micah, how would you define what emotionally available or unavailable means?
Ooh, it's so complex, it's so layered. But if I was forced to be general with it, I believe that emotional unavailability comes from a space of fear. You know what I mean? As what I've discovered about myself over time, over years, as I've grown and matured, is that like a lot of times when I'm ducking my feelings, it's because I'm afraid of them. And I'm afraid of what's on the other side of that mirror that I'm holding up, and I'm trying to figure it out. And sometimes when you look in that mirror, you ain't gonna like what you see, and so rather than come to grips with that, you run away from it, and you try to be like, well, I ain't about to, deal with them emotions, you know what I mean? What I look like being out here being sad on top of toxic masculinity, but that's to be a whole nother podcast. But now a lot of times it's that, like, our feelings are scary, our feelings, especially for a man, we've never been reinforced in a space of understanding our feelings. We fall and we scrape our knee and we cry, we get popped. Don't cry. Those men don't cry. X, Y, and Z. We've never had the space to express our feelings and be vulnerable. And that has always hampered us as a whole, and from a macro level. Now, if you in those spaces where you feel like you emotionally mature, then I ain't talking to you, because hit dogs gonna holler. Right. But from a macro level, most men haven't had that space. You know what I mean? We have a hard enough time having that space with each other. You know what I mean? Like, what happens when dudes get into it? They fight. And when they get done fighting, what happened? They right back cool. You know what I mean? So then, like, because the fight usually leads to the conversation, you know? And that's the only way that we've known that space. But it ain't got to be all like that, man. You know, if you got an ought against your brother, go to him and him alone. Don't duck it. Don't avoid it. The quicker you deal with it, the quicker you can move on from it. And hurt people. So once you get that together and you're self-aware of your own flaws and downfalls, you'll be able to move a lot better. You'll treat people a lot better. You'll be a bit more understanding. And I feel like to me, that's why I feel like it's based off fear.
I like that. I should have defined that because I just wanted like general terms and general understanding. I think that everybody has had their fair share of dealings with emotional unavailable people. So just quickly, I'll give a formal definition. According to healthline.com, emotionally availability describes the ability to sustain emotional bonds and relationships. Since it's pretty much impossible to have a healthy relationship without an emotional connection, emotionally unavailable people tend to struggle in relationships, often preferring to date casually and keep some distance.
Right.
So, like I said, they don't have the range. It literally.
Distance, right? If I bring you in too close, I got to come to grips with that stuff because you're going to hold me accountable. And I know dudes always say women don't like being held accountable. Now, men don't like being held accountable either.
Of course not. Like I say this a lot. I have no issue meeting men who have their shit together. I'm in a DMV. There's a lot of professional men out here.
Right.
Men who, like I like to say, like they look good on paper.
Oh, yes.
But
resumes fly.
Yeah. I feel like some men are like damaged, like, and it's so frustrating for me as someone who's dating because like sometimes I feel like I am overdeveloped more than the men I'm dealing with, and I feel like it's really hard to find my emotional equal. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a man will get hurt in the 6th grade and like swear off women for life. You know what I mean? And
like, don't like women at all.
And it's like many of the men like I've dealt with, I just feel like they have like the emotional bandwidth of like a toothpick. Like, you're grown as hell. Like, oh boy, so, like, go to therapy, like get over it. But like, what is up with, you know, men having one solid interaction? I think I made up that word. They have one bad interaction and it's just like, I'm for the streets basically. Like, and it'd be in the 6th grade, it'd be high school, it'd be their first love, it'd be something like so old, and they just like why? Why?
I'll say from that standpoint, because you always got dudes that's used to, like, you know, boys are more so coddled to most oftentimes than not, you know what I mean? And so, like, you know, tell them you get this one time. I'll say this as an actuary, just kind of like more of my professional, but I feel like this makes sense. And I was at a conference one time, and my profession is that I take exams. I can go to grad school if I want to, but how I move up in my field is that I take these standardized tests. Take another test, another pay raise for the most part. But the tests are really, really hard. And actuarials are highly smart math people. You know, you got those math folks in class that never failed before. They turn over the bed and get an A+. You know, when you take an actuarial exam and you fail for the first time, your confidence is shattered. Because you never failed before, and nobody ever told you no before. You never got denied before.
Oh, Micah, you preaching already.
that's the typical thing for most men. Men don't know how to handle rejection. And like I said, macro level, if this don't apply to you, let it fly. But from a macro level, men aren't used to failures. You know what I mean? We can even make that into a racial thing. How's it look when white men fail? That's a story for another day. But especially when Black men fail, we already have perfectionist tendencies. And so when we fail, we always feel like, well, I messed that up. Why would I try again? I know I failed the last time. What made me think I'm going to succeed this time if I do something different? Why don't I just keep doing what I'm doing? And I'm comfortable with the fact that this may not go nowhere, but I'm gonna get something anyway. You know what I mean? Rather than taking that time to just sit back, think, reflect, react, do something a little bit different.
Process.
You know? Yes, process. Oh, that's the word right there. Process. Because when you process it and you unpack and you can get to the root of that. You know what I mean? When you got a garden, you got weeds, you got to pull them out at the root, not at the leaf.
Y'all can tell Mike is a PK, a preacher's kid. You can tell.
Yeah, they had me in front of that church as many off the times they could. But like, not seriously though, like, you know, you gotta unpack, you gotta get to the bottom of these things, because if you don't, then you're not gonna go anywhere. You're gonna be on a cycle. And those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And it's even worse when you don't even want to take the class.
But they don't care though. I just feel like they shut down.
Dudes don't want to take the class.
Ugh.
They don't want to take the class. You know what I mean? Failure is a very interesting concept. I've struggled with it. You know what I mean? Especially as a mathematician, failure is part of the game. The game is in the reps. You know what I mean? You can mess up a problem 99 times, but you get it that one time on the exam, you ain't got to worry about it no more.
Yeah.
But I've learned from those 99 other times, and I did it when it mattered.
Yeah.
You know, but it's also in the sense of like, it sucks when you fail, but you got to get back up and try again. But you got to try something.
Some men will get it wrong the first time, and they're like, nope, never
I'm good. It's a strike.
No,
I'm out.
Done. It's a wrap. It's a dub. Ain't happening again. Ain't no bitches getting in this freaking wall that I can.
My wall look like the wall of China right now. And so, you got to break that down, man.
Let's get into that though. Like, have you ever been emotionally available as you've been dating?
Yeah. Well, do you mean unavailable or available?
Unavailable.
Okay, because all right, yeah. I had a year where I was in a depressive episode, and I call it the year of 2015. I was in a relationship. I put all my eggs in this basket, and I did what I thought that I was supposed to do, and things still didn't work out. But I wasn't. I've always had an affinity for women. I've always had a high respect and love for women. You know, I mean, I was raised with my mom most of the time. My dad's a preacher, but he's a workaholic. We didn't really get like a tight relationship until I got older. But I was really with my mom, so she had me in like beauty shops and nail salons. She's a first lady, so I'm with all these older so-and-so like that, going on these shopping trips and stuff like that. So I learned the language a bit quick about how men ain't shit for the most part. But so in this situation, I thought I did everything right. I internalized those lessons. I tried to be that type of guy, and it still ain't working. And I still wound up on my own. But I was still down to date. I was bitter about the situation. I was bitter about my shortcomings, but I wasn't bitter about women.
So take me through that then. What was that? You said you were down to date after this situation was over. What you meet a girl, what is that like? What was that like in the year of 2015?
So remember when I told you about like not having those voids filled in, and so you try to fill them by appeasing and being in the presence of other people. You wanted other people to fill that void. That was me. That was me. I was searching for the love that I didn't have for myself. And so I was looking for that amongst these other women. So like obviously this podcast is going to be a lot of me bearing my sins, because I can only speak for me. I know I'm not the general case, but I'm at least the case that you can take and kind of dissect and try to make parallels of stuff. Because that's what I do when you ask me for stuff. I try to make parallels.
I brought you on here for a reason.
You know what I mean? And so, but like as I continue to go through this process and more, I just always had to come to grips with like my shortcomings. And my shortcomings at the time was I was a workaholic.
Yeah.
I had tunnel vision. I wasn't a guy that really smelled the roses. I was, I had like during that relationship, I had an internship, I had another job, and I was still going to school part-time. I was working 12-hour days. It was my last year of college. I wanted to wrap it up. And so, but I wanted to make sure that like I did everything in a space where I still had time for her. You know what I mean? And so I could imagine how like that left her feeling a little bit lonely at times, you know, because I wasn't always there. You know what I mean? I was just so focused on trying to make this establishment because I thought that was it. So I was trying to make sure that like when that time came, I had my ducks in a row. But I was too busy trying to have my ducks in a row and not worry about the main duck in the front, which was her. And so the things like that kind of fell apart. And I had to live with that failure, and I didn't know how to process that failure. Because like I said, I thought I did everything right. And so at this point in time, I'm like, okay, I'm in a space, I'm established, because by this time I've graduated and I had some prospects. I'm like, okay, well now I'm ready to try to like make that move and make that last step. But I hadn't healed. I hadn't forgiven myself for failing. And so I was going around these other situations and they weren't working out. It was. But I won't say.
You skimming
But
over
also,
the good parts. Take
I'm
me
getting there.
through
I'm
these
getting
in
there.
like, I mean, you ain't gotta say names or details, but like when after that, relationship was over, when you were engaging with these new prospects, like, did you recognize that you were you're telling me now that you weren't healed, but at the time, did you recognize that you were not emotionally available? Like,
Nah,
okay,
I didn't recognize it because I was, like I said, I was so busy pertaining to them and their needs and making
and
sure that they
trying to
was
fill
good.
the void.
Yes, exactly. Because I wanted that companionship. I wanted that those small rewards that I mentioned earlier in the goofy section. I wanted those small rewards. I just wanted something to be like, I am worth it, because at the time, at that point, I didn't think I was. Because like I said, I had my whole identity based around these things and it didn't work out. And it was like, well, who the hell is Micah now if that don't work?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that I'd heard all my life that was perfect. I
yeah,
heard all my life that's what women wanted. I
yeah,
heard all my life that's what they asked for. So why
yeah.
the fuck didn't it work? You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
yeah, I
so
hear you. I hear you.
yeah. And then that's when I first started the lesson of like, I can't be out here what other people want me to be. I gotta be what I want me to be.
What's true to
And
you?
that didn't come until later. And it's kind of sad that it was a slew of women that I left behind. It wasn't like we was on no like friends with benefits type stuff. It was more like emotional type stuff. You know what I mean? I just wanted somebody to talk to, somebody, hear me ramble on about bullshit and
Did
stuff like
they
that.
ever did they ever give you what their needs were and you weren't able to at the time like fulfill that? Like, did they ever come to you and be like, well, why aren't we in a relationship? Well, why can't you open up to me? Like, did they ever address you about any of that?
I think it never really got to that point for some of them.
Dang.
Because I was in situations I shouldn't have been in. I was dealing with that I shouldn't have been. It was a lot of, because like I said, a lot of those didn't happen. I was a side nigga in a couple spaces.
Oh
You
my
know what I mean?
God, you was really out here for it.
A brother was down bad. We was down like country boys.
Oh gosh.
Country boys is down by 50. You hear me?
You was just out here. You was just like,
Yeah.
whatever.
I was just moving listless without a care, and then it didn't help that like I lost my situation. Like I lost my internship when I graduated. I lost my job. It all changed when I went back home. I went to Arkansas. My niece had graduated out the Army, and I hadn't been there for like about 20 years because it had caught fire. And I told my mom to take me over there. Someone told me to just go over there. And I went over there and I went in there. I went in the house. It's still standing. It's just burned down, but it was still standing. I went in there and I felt like I hadn't been in the house since I was 5 years old. All the memories that I could remember just flooded into me. And I was like, out of all the stuff that happened, I'm still here to have this point.
Yeah.
So there must be something special about me. There must be something about me that is why I'm still here. And so I had to start doing that digging in that groundwork. Like, what made me special? What did I like about me? Yeah, and then that's when I changed my game up. I changed my perspective. I was a bit more open to things. I was like, I'm gonna get myself back together. I'm gonna make math my hustle, and I'm gonna go from there. And I've been rolling ever since. And I've had my phase in relationships since then. I ain't been perfect, but it's a learning process. But I understand that if I can make it through that point and grow, ain't nothing else I can come back from.
Fair. Now, on the flip side, have you ever met or dealt with a woman who was emotionally unavailable?
Yes.
What was that like? What did that feel like? Like, when did you first realize that this is not what I think this is?
It was when I looked up and I started to realize that like I was the supplement for a lot of things that she hasn't healed from. Like I was supposed to, like how you get with people in their crutch. They depend. It's a codependency type of thing. You know what I mean? And I realized that like I had enabled that and I had allowed that. And I've done that a couple times.
Was this before or after your bout with being unavailable?
I'll say this was after my bout with being unavailable.
Did you recognize signs that like things that you had done or things that you were doing in her? Like, were you able to recognize her unavailability because of things that you had previously done when you were unavailable?
I think in the space of it looked different. You know what I mean? Because a lot of my situations, like with where I am in my life now, is that like I'm a bit more established than most of my thing. I've fallen in that trap of falling for potential, and like there's some captain in there that I had to address, and like I thought that like like in certain situations it was just them that didn't have a good home life in that space. And I'm like, well, I could be that bit of consistency that you needed, because I never really had that consistency. I've always had a good home life, but my parents were workaholics. A lot of things I got on my own. But with their assistance, of course, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm gonna get it out the mud superstar. You know what I mean? I had great opportunities. I had great spaces. I grew up on the north end of Flint, but I ain't staying in the north end at a point in time.
Yeah.
There's ways for me. And so whenever I would deal with women who are emotionally unavailable, or I'll call it emotionally unavailable for lack of better terms, when they had these things that they had to address on their own, I thought that I could love them enough for them to get past it, or I can
say that again.
I could love them enough to get past it, or I could support their dreams enough to where they feel confident in themselves in order to do X, Y, and Z.
And you realize that you could not. That was inside of them.
Like I said, you don't have to do what's best for them. They got to do what's best for them. So you do you. Because my daddy, when I was when it was 2015, my daddy, I believe it's Proverbs 4:23, something like that. I might be paraphrasing. Don't come at me, Bible thumpers. I know it's in Proverbs 4. I believe it's Proverbs 4. And he told me, we was at the gym, and he said, guard your heart, son, because from that all blessings of life flow. And he will tell me, don't give nobody your entire heart, because man will let you down. Put your trust not in man, for man will always fail. And so I came with this concept from there. I was like, if I got 50 eggs in a basket and I'm with somebody, I'm gonna give you 49. Okay. Because if something happened in that 49 fall, I got that one and I can start over. If I give you all 50, it's a little bit of a harder trek back up the hill. You know
I
what I
can't
mean?
even be mad at that. I can't even be mad at that. As someone who has dealt with emotionally unavailable men, a lot of times, it is like you're trying to. I like what you said. That's why I had you repeat it. Like you're trying to love themselves you're trying to love them enough to like make them bring their walls down. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I can't give you all of me when I am getting basically nothing in return, because Micah loves some he loved an analogy, but it was a good one though. Like
y'all get it, don't you?
Listen, I am receiving the message. They're gonna really enjoy this, because like I love it. I brought you on here because I love how you break down things into simple terms. But like if I love all up on you, what is there left for me? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I've been in a relationship before like that, where the guy was like, he just took. And I didn't have anything left for myself. And that is something that I have promised myself, in future dealings with men. Like, I'm not giving you everything because I'm number one. I'm always going to be number one. You hear married people talk about this a lot. You can't pour from an empty cup. You know what I mean? You can't be a good partner if you're not good with yourself, So I really do. I love Micah's analogy.
You even drop some in there. I see.
I love it. I love it. One of my biggest grievances.
Okay, bring it to the table.
It's the lack of honesty for me, Micah. I'm gonna be honest. Like I talked about, like the man from the ghosting episode, one of the guys in that episode, like he knew that he could not. Well, he may not have known, and you kind of alluded to this, but my whole thing is like, he couldn't meet my needs, and I recognized that at one point, and I addressed that with him, but he tried to make it seem like he could, like he made it seem like he wanted to work things out with me, and he wanted it to be a thing, you know what I mean? And so it's the lack of honesty for me, because my thing is like, and tell me if I'm being too harsh, but I feel like we're grown at this point, so it's just like, that you can't meet my needs, and so it's like, it's okay for you to say that. My issue is the honesty. Why can't you just be honest? Because like, I would like to think that in that situation in 2015, if you had recognized what you were dealing with, I feel like you would have been honest and just let the girls know this
Yeah.
this ain't gonna be what you think this gonna be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I'll
that's my
say,
thing. That's my
yeah,
grievance. Why can't they just be honest, Micah?
because they're not honest with themselves.
You
That's
really
that.
think they don't be knowing? You really think they
No,
don't be
no, that I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said that they don't be honest with themselves.
Break it down.
A lot of times people know that a thing is a thing, but they talk themselves out of it. They say, "No, I'm tripping." You know what I mean? My granny always said, "Stick with your first mind, because it'll never lead you astray." And a lot of times we be fighting that first thought. You know what I mean? We be fighting it tough because we want to be right. We want to make points, and we want to succeed out of that fear of not failing. And it becomes like you rather play to not lose than play to win. And so a lot of times men get in these spaces where if a woman said that, like, I assume this was like a more than a one-time thing in your example that you're referring to, right? Like you told him a couple times that he wasn't meeting your needs, or was it just like a one-time thing?
Kind of, yeah. It was a conversation that came up more than once for sure.
Yeah. So like I've been there, you know. I thought that I could do those things, you know what I mean? And it's good to get to college trying, you see. And if you see effort, then that's a thing. But if it's like if they trying and it still ain't working, then you know eventually the guy has to come to the grips of the fact of the matter is that, like, I can't do this thing. I can't do it.
I'm so frustrated though, because it's just like it happens a lot.
Yes, it does. But like I said, you gotta get to a point where you real with yourself. Because a lot of times reps, man, you try things, you want to keep trying, especially if you want to be with that person so bad, but you get to the realization that, like, this might not work. Like the old folks say, love ain't enough. Love ain't enough.
My friend was talking to this guy. She was talking to this guy, and like she had expressed concerns about their relationship. Same, very similar to what happened with me and the guy that ended up ghosting me. They expressed concerns about their relationship, and his response was, she listed all her grievances. His response was, so she was like, so you don't have anything to say? Like, she went through all of her concerns, and she was like, well, you don't have anything to say? His response was, well, you didn't ask me a question.
Now that's different. That's the dude that don't want to listen.
Micah, when I say like murder, like
murder on your mind.
Are you kidding? Are you fucking serious?
Yeah,
like the thing is, she is telling you, and that's the thing. It's not very different than the scenario I was in. I expressed my grievances. He convinced. I don't know if he was trying to convince himself and me. You know what I mean? But like he claimed that things were going to be working, and it took me recognizing, you said this was going to change and it didn't change. You know what I mean? But it's like, I expressed those grievances. My homegirl expressed those grievances. Oh boy. And he was just like, well, you didn't ask me a question. And so like, I guess it kind of goes back to your earlier point about like, I feel like, because I try not to be assumptive about people's intentions, but there is no way that someone is literally expressing to you the things that concern them, and you're just it was like she was talking to a fucking brick wall, and honestly, she was. She was talking to a brick wall, because he's like, well, you didn't ask me anything, so I don't have to answer any questions.
Yeah, that good long text message into what you mean.
I'm triggered.
Yes. And it's like I said, a lot of, and another thing with that, in the sense of, this is a space that I'm struggling with, because like I said, I'm good at supplying needs. I'm learning and growing how to express my needs when I need a thing. Important. And so a lot of times it's a sense of projection, in the sense of like I said, you get those guys that like, they don't know how to express their needs, and then so like they feel they do everything and they don't ask for nothing in return, and because they don't need nothing in return, they don't know how to ask for nothing in return.
I don't take it that way. I feel like, well, I think that there are some men who are like that, you know what I mean? But like, I feel like majority of the cases, I feel like people know what they be doing, and honestly, Micah gets on my case about this, because I'm very, very cutthroat. Like, I feel like at our big age, like, I feel like people be knowing what they be doing, and so like in my scenario, yeah, he couldn't be honest with himself, but you know that I am asking you for things that you cannot provide. You know what I mean? But you're convincing yourself and you're convincing me that well we're gonna try to make this work. Why are you even dating? Like, I just feel like people be knowing what they be doing. And like, even with the guy that my friend was talking to, when he just like, well, you didn't ask me a question. And it's just like, are you brick wall?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like, you don't know until you do, right? And that's what it is sometimes. I feel like you have a point, but I feel like in your point, you're giving people a little bit too much credit. Because a lot of times people don't know. They know the back of their mind, and they like I said, they fight it and they try to make it work because they feel like that's what you're supposed. Like a prime example. So and we was just talking about it. He's not that into you, right? The husband that was forced into marriage, right? What was the things he was doing? He met Scarlett Johansson in the grocery store.
Cheating.
He wanted to do it. He liked that. He wanted to see what was going on with that. But what did he say? He said, I'm married. He know he didn't want to be in that marriage because he tried the best he could. That's what they thought he wanted. Because he thought that's what was right. That's what he was comfortable with. And so now he lying to her and his wife. And then the penultimate saying, this ain't no spoiler, this movie like 20 years old. If not, y'all can go watch it. But like, and then when his wife showed up in the office after he told her that he had cheated on her, and she wasn't even tripping about that. She was tripping about the line about cigarettes. And so she went back there to try to make that marriage work. And so they getting down in the office, and Scarlett Johansson in the office hiding out because she don't want to be caught being another woman. Meanwhile, he having sex with his wife in the office because he couldn't be honest with himself about what he wanted. But at that point in time, he didn't recognize what went wrong until everything went wrong.
I'm calling flag on the play.
Call flag then. That's what this is for. This is debate.
You like to give
I ain't got all the answers. We're here to discuss answers. Come on.
You like to give your analogies. Flag on the play. Come
on.
People be knowing what the fuck they be doing. And even if they don't, why just in that example, why do other people have to get damaged along with you figuring out who the fuck you are? That's my issue with emotionally unavailable men in particular. Men literally sit here and think they can spend the better parts of their 20s and their early 30s emotionally damaging women due to their own internal issues. And then they want to sit up here and expect a woman who is not damaged. They themselves are damaged goods.
Well, now we get into the body count situation.
Damaged goods be walking around damaging other people.
Her people.
30s, and then they sit up here and be like, well, women are just so bitter and so jaded. Do you not recognize how you have contributed to this? You know what I mean? It may not be the woman that you're dating, but if you and your bros are playing 5 women at a time, I mean, it's just, the math is mathing, Micah.
Yes, and I'm not saying, I'm not saying that they don't know what they're doing. It's just that they don't know what they want.
Why do people? So we're about to get into that. I think I'm about done with my grievances because at this point, I want to talk prevention and coping because it's so extremely frustrating to me that like I get it. People got their shit, but why do I have to be? What word am I looking for? Why do I gotta be involved in your shit? You know what I mean? Like, you ain't got your shit figured out. Cool, work on that, boo. But like, why you bringing me into this? You know what I mean? And that goes back to the honesty factor for me. If old boy had just said, "Hey, I like you, but this can't be a thing," that would have been okay for me. But the flip side is, back to my point, they know what they be doing. They know good and goddamn well. If you tell the woman, hey, I was in a relationship for 5 years, emotionally, I'm not there yet because I'm still hung up about the things my ex did to me, but I would love to hang out with you, take you on dates and sleep with you. They know good and goddamn well that they are going to decrease their options.
Yes.
And that's some bullshit. That is some bullshit.
But
people into your shit and you're not being honest.
But also in the sense of that nature is that's what's work. And so now so I'm gonna do the Alex thing and be on the other side of this. You recognize those things, right? You saw that shit coming. Why did you stay?
So that's what we're about to get into, prevention and coping. I personally did not stay, and you know I don't be staying.
Yes, I know you don't be staying, but I'm just saying, I'm saying to Jim, maybe you can speak more today because I'm on that side of those type of situations, and I've been on the other side of those situations. I know why I've stayed, but in your space, why have you stayed? Or if you can speak for the women, why do they stay?
Let me think about that. Well, for me, like like I said, I'm the type of person, like Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them. You know what I
The
mean?
first time.
So yeah, and Micah always be talking about me because I am so like, I don't want to do this no more. You know what I mean? But that's just how I am. I feel like I could stand to give more grace. You know what I mean? But like, I just feel like this is what you've shown me. This is you putting your best foot forward, and your best foot is not enough for me. So like, this isn't working for me anymore. But in situations where women may stay, it's because women in general we are very forgiving, and we do give chances. You know what I mean? Like, we really, I think you talked about potential before. It's like, hey, this could be it. This could be a husband. This could be bae. You know what I mean? I want to give you the chance to get out your own way. And women got to stop doing that shit.
Yes, because if you give a man the excuse to have the audacity, we will have the audacity.
Listen, if it's one thing that
we ain't never short on the unmitigated gall and audacity. I can say that for sure.
If it's one thing y'all got, and then that's my thing, like, am I going to get that same grace? And a lot of times men don't give women that same grace. When a woman fuck up, it's just like, no. Like, back to the roster dating. When you have multiple people on the team and somebody is not doing what they supposed to be doing, I got other people that can fill your spot. It ain't no problem.
I got a roster. We got waivers.
like it ain't no problem. You know what I mean? And I feel like women are not given that same grace, but I feel like women, and this is just let's just talk about it.
You don't mean to push it, but go ahead and drop it.
Women feel like, I think that sometimes when dating, women feel like they can't do better. And it's like, you get a guy and he's just good enough.
Yes.
And so it's like, I am willing to overlook, or I am willing to work with you while you figure out your shit. And we need to, listen, I don't do Build-A-Bear. I don't do Build-A-Bear.
Put your cake down.
I don't do Build-A-Bear. It ain't no, well, you know, you gotta work with a man. Nah, I don't. I don't. I want the man after he didn't, I'm sorry. I want the man after he didn't emotionally damaged other people. His ex then taught him every goddamn thing he know. And he came to me full man, full grown, watered, fertilized, whatever. I'm trying to make a flower reference, but I don't feel like it hit. But
I was like, you want me to do it for you, or you want that one lie?
If it can hit.
I say you want that plant in the pot at Costco. You don't want to be in the field tilling that field, laying that fertilizer, watering 3 times a day to make sure you get nutrients, talking to it, making sure you get that positive love to grow out and be pretty, you know.
No, I don't want that. I want the pretty one, already done, together.
You want to pay your $18.85 to Costco and take it to the crib and put it in the pot and deal with it from there, and that's fine. Period. That's fine. But what people have to understand, men and women alike, what we have to understand as a whole, is that, like, because men, we be on that fuck shit too. What we have to understand as a whole is we have to understand our limits. We got to have those hard discussions with ourselves. We have to be vulnerable with ourselves, because hurt people gonna continue to hurt people. And until you recognize why you are hurt, you are going to consciously or subconsciously pass that stuff along. You know what I mean? But it's also in the same sense of, like, people are in different spaces, and we can't assume that everybody is general and level. But that's why it's on us to understand, I'm not your therapist.
Period.
I'm not here to fix you.
Woo!
You're not here to fix me. That ain't your job. That ain't my job. That's not fair for anybody to deal with. And once we could, and that ain't the overall thing, but that's a big thing, is that people have egos in the sense of fixing things. I got to suspend my ego often.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My father does that. He's a preacher. His whole thing is helping people and making sure people are good, praying for people, catering to their souls. You know, and that taxes and weighs on him. And he has a God-given obligation to do it. And even he struggled with it. Yeah. Now, you mean to tell me that I'm in this space of choosing who I'm going to date and deal with, and I'm not obligated to do that? And I'm going to stick around and be abused in that regard? I got to go. You got to, and eventually at a point in time, you got to choose you. And I pray that it is at a point where something has to happen, or it's too late. Because people always say, people always say, take a leap of faith. Some folks scared of jumping. Sometimes you got to push them. And it be that way sometimes. We can't determine what happens to us. We can only determine how we react to it. And until we understand is how we react to things, it takes a little bit more onus on us. And I feel like a lot of times we want to push that responsibility on other people. Do we hold them accountable? Of course. Yes. But we then have to hold ourselves accountable. We have to hold ourselves accountable.
So that's why,
in the car.
That's why I wanted to get into like prevention or whatever, like how to spot these emotional terrorists. I want to make this disclaimer. This in no way, shape, or form, and Micah, you just alluded to this, like, we're not absolving people of accountability. That's why I just spent half this time airing my grievances, because I clearly feel some type of way about this. But I just want to talk about ways to spot this behavior and ways to not even get yourself in that situation. You know, we're not trying to absolve, emotionally unavailable, emotionally manipulative people of their behavior. But some men are just going to suck. Like, some women come to me and they're just like, why are men like this? Why do they do this? Some people just suck. I wish people that men were perfect communicative, creatures, but they're not. So we just deal. And I think, and y'all know this by now, I think it's important to be wary of the signs. So there's accountability on both sides. So now we're going to get into it, how to spot an emotionally unavailable man. Micah, what do you think is one of like the easiest ways to spot an emotionally unavailable man?
A bare minimum man that is talked about often. And what I mean by the bare minimum man is, the guy that just does the maintenance work. You've alluded to the maintenance man before. That just
people love that maintenance man.
the 3-letter man, X, Y, and Z, the one that say what you doing and ain't pulling up. It's just a space of I've heard. I'm not gonna say who told me this, but in the sense of like I don't stay back home, X, Y, and Z. So whenever I would go back home, this person would always tell me, it's like, before you go, you gotta do like 2 weeks. You gotta do that maintenance on it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You just gotta like do that pop up. When that dude pop up out of nowhere, you're like, where'd you come from? It's the time. We got some kind of biological clock. I can't explain it, but it's there. But no, it's the maintenance dude that just does just enough to get by. He don't wow you. He don't pull up on you. He ain't buying you flowers. Or even if the dudes that is buying you flowers because you harped at them 15 times and start getting you flowers, and then he starts getting you flowers. You know what I mean? So like I said, in the sense of like, if you tell a man to do a thing one time and he tries, that's one thing. But if you had to tell him multiple times and then you about to leave and set your ultimatum, then he do it, then he just doing that to get by. He's just doing that to keep you around. He ain't doing that because he genuinely wants to.
You hit on something. You hit on something there. And that this was a perfect start, because one of my things was, it's a man who you're always following his lead and his schedule. He's never really trying to see like what you like to do. It's kind of like you said, it's maintenance. I feel like texting her after I haven't talked to her for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like it's on his time. You know what I mean? And if he is trying to see what you do, what you like, it's because he's trying to manipulate you into something. Like, but for the most part, it's whatever works for him.
Exactly. It's all about like understanding and balancing. I got this space now. Well, let me see what's happening. You know what I mean? I'm kicking it. She kicking it. I'm assuming she kicking it. Why won't she want to come kick it over here with this kid? You know what I mean? I know it's been a while, but she gonna be with it. Why not? It's me.
Yeah. But it's on your terms. It's not. I haven't heard from her in 3 weeks. Maybe I should, check her. It's like, I want you to come over.
I want you to come through.
Yeah, because I want you over here.
We're not even gonna do
3 weeks.
We're not even gonna do the warm up of like, let me take you out. I know it's been a while. Let me take you out real quick.
No.
Nope. We're going straight to it. Ain't no warm up. Ain't no practice. We talking about practice.
Ain't no pregame. Ain't no foreplay.
Nothing. It's just straight to pound town.
So something else, which is a big one, they never want to specify the terms of the relationship. And I've already made a call back to the What Are We episode, but y'all, it's been months and he not saying the words. and when you approach him, he still don't
Mm-hmm.
say the words about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just feel like emotionally unavailable men are slow to commit in general. And like, you
Mm-hmm.
gotta let it be known, like, you know, you want more. But if
Mm-hmm.
they ain't tripping about it and they ain't calling it a thing, there's a chance that, namely, he probably doesn't like you like that. But also, this is definitely a sign of someone that's emotionally unavailable.
Yeah. To go with that, another friend of mine he would always say he would always ask, if that girl talked to somebody else right now and you knew about it, how would that make you feel? And if you don't feel a way about that, you don't really like her.
Micah, did you go to your fuckboy committee and ask them? Ask them.
I I I
I feel like
I,
you did.
I made some calls.
I feel like I could tell. Micah did
I
his
talk.
homework, y'all.
I know I talked about like this space of like men not making space to be vulnerable. That's one thing I try to do. I have a lot of male friends that I talk to about my feelings, and we talk to each other about our feelings. We call each other on our bullshit, and we hold each other accountable. You know what I mean? So I know that, like I said, I succeeded because I failed. They failed a lot. They're older than me. So I went to
So
go
they
holler. I
just
went to
told
go
you
holler.
straight up.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
that I think that's a great point though,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
like, if you don't feel no type of way to someone, and that's the commitment thing, and that just goes back to, it's been 6 months, it's been this amount of time has passed, and he ain't trying to get you out the streets. Summer's
Mhm.
coming, baby.
Mhm. I
Summer's coming, and he
I
ain't trying
gotta.
to get your ass out the
Mhm.
streets. You know what
Mhm.
real niggas gonna do before the summer starts? They gonna lock your ass down.
Mhm.
Cause they
Yep.
like, oh, you thought it was gonna be a hot girl summer, huh?
What you thought this was? What you
That's what
thought
real
this
niggas
was?
gonna
I got these short shorts for you, baby. What's that?
do. Just saying. But if he ain't trying
Yeah.
to call it a thing,
Hmm.
he don't feel no kind of way.
I had to tell my sister about this. I hope she don't mind me telling her business, but my sister got engaged, and shout
Woo!
out to her. Whoop
We
whoop
could have
whoop.
made her goals this week.
It's kind of just happened, so it's
Oh,
cool.
okay.
But like when I went back home for Christmas and we had talked, I know that there was this guy that she liked, and my sister is in a space so she has a hard time being vulnerable and letting herself be loved. And there's this guy that's been around. She liked him, but she was, a little apprehensive about it. Her wall was up. She'd been married before. Things kind of went away, and she was just like in this space of like, do I really want to go through that and let him in just for this to fail? And I was like, that man has shown you from X, Y, and Z how he gets down. He has been there. You had a problem. He ain't asking about it. He pulling up, you know. And if there was something that you needed done, he was gonna do. You know what I mean? And he gonna show up for you. And you want to be in this space of like you've always fallen for potential. You ain't fell for effort. But this dude showing you and you like him. So what's the problem here? And I told her to go ahead and be vulnerable. I told her to give it a shot and see what happens. He just proposed yesterday. When he went to my hometown, he went into church. My dad's preacher, as I've already said. He talked to my daddy, he talked to my mama, talked to her kids. And he got right there in front of that church and he laid it down and he made it plain in front of the congregation. It's Michigan, because they have a church in Michigan. He made it plain and he showed her, but that's on the other side of vulnerability. Now, I'm not saying that just to make this whole like a fairy tale in it. Sometimes with vulnerability, you're going to get hurt. That's the game. That's the game. You win some, you lose some, but you live to live.
But that is that fear that you talked about
Yes.
earlier, which is why people don't want to be emotionally available, because they don't want to get hurt.
Hurt. Yes, but that's part of the game. Like I said, you can't control what happens to you. You can only control how you react to it.
Now, one of my other things, and I think that this is a big, big sign in the dating stage, and it has happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize that the conversations were very surface level. Like, he would engage me on bullshit topics, pop culture, TV, movies, whatever, but like, he never actually tried to like get to know me. Like, and I didn't peep at first because like I'm a chatty Cathy. You know what I mean? Like, I be talking, whatever. And then I realized like I was asking certain questions and I felt like after a certain amount of time had passed, I'm the only one trying to get to know him on a deeper level. I wanted to know about his career, his family. You know, when I meet someone and I'm into them, I want to know all your business. You know
Sherlock
what I mean?
Holmes.
I'm curious because I'm interested. So I want to know everything.
Yes.
And I was so curious about him and all of his things and what made him tick. And I just felt like I was not getting that in return.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that connection wasn't happening because he
Mm-hmm.
was not doing the same.
Right.
It was
But
so surface level. He
I go.
and that was one of his ways of like
Mm-hmm.
having his wall up. And I didn't, you know what I mean? Like I talked about this, and this was one of my other episodes about basically this man would talk to me all the time, but we wasn't never talking about shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 What did Lauren call it? What I got to do to get some reciprocity? That's what it
Yes,
is. That's what it is. And energy should be matched. You know what I
I
mean?
agree.
Like you can't give from an empty cup before that take don't give. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? And so when you get in that space of someone that's just gonna keep taking, and your cup is empty, and you got nothing left to
yeah,
do, then what's gonna happen? It's gonna fall apart anyway.
yeah.
You're gonna be dried out and you're gonna be hurt. You know what I mean?
Matching energy is so
Mm-hmm.
important. It is
Yeah.
so
The,
important.
the church folk call it being equally yoked, and they ain't just in the Bible sense.
Yeah,
They ain't just in the spiritual sense.
no,
That's in overall sense. You know what
you're
I mean? That's
right.
what this whole conversation is about.
Yeah,
Basically, at the core is being equally yoked. If
yeah,
y'all ain't equally yoked from an understanding of an emotional standpoint or a relationship standpoint, even in
yeah.
regular stuff at your job, you deal with folk that ain't unequally yoked. It's the coworkers you don't like.
Mm,
So, you know, and when things aren't balanced and things aren't equally yoked, there's going to be some correction to get you back into balance, and that's where these frictions happen. You know
yeah.
what I mean? That's where these moments happen, and you try to talk yourself out of it, but and so yeah, just like you said, he ain't making no effort to get to know you. He ain't really into you.
Not on that deeper level.
Yeah,
You know what
he
I
just want he
mean?
just want to know what you thought about the Kardashian situation. That's about
Yeah. He just want to talk about ghosts and goofies, but he don't want to do the main segment, you know?
it.
Ah, you like that
I like
analogy,
that.
huh?
Okay, that was good. I give you props on that one. Good job. Good job. I'm out of liquor, so I'm gonna toast my water.
What else do you got? What else do you think is like a sign that women should recognize? Like, this guy probably is not emotionally available.
When he doesn't hold you accountable.
What that mean?
Hey, like I said, sometimes when a man is too understanding, it makes you look over the bullshit. And when we just let things slide, and we continue to let things slide and slide and slide, it's sliding right into that box, and that box get too full, and it's gonna bust wide open, and it's gonna be a problem. And when you avoid those conversations, those moments of, I call this year of me being 29, I call it I'm not running from the smoke, I'm going to it. So
Ooh.
if I got a problem with you, I should be able to come to you with it. And if I don't, that means I don't respect you enough for you to be honest with me about how you feeling.
Preacher.
And that
Preacher.
and men oftentimes think of that in a sense of like a means of protecting you. No, you just don't respect her. Because if you respect her as a person, when you got a problem with your homeboy, you go right to his pouch.
Yeah.
And y'all talk it out, y'all move on, right? Or something happens. Either y'all gonna be friends or y'all gonna go the other way. But a lot of times when a man ain't pulling up on your bumper when you do something that hurts him, he don't respect you. He and likely he don't respect himself, because he gonna let somebody do that to him.
Yeah.
Imagine what he gonna make. Well, he might be all about it for you, but it might be that one thing that he ain't gonna step up on, because he ain't stepping up for himself. If you can't step up and defend yourself, you can't step up and defend your woman effectively.
And he might just not care. You know what I mean? It might just be like he don't even care to correct you, because even though he can't say it or doesn't want to say it, he knows. I mean, yeah, she do this thing that really, really annoy me, but I mean, that's not gonna be my bae anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
or from the other side, I'll just put up with it. It ain't that big a deal. And all them ain't big a deals gonna build up. And the straw that broke the camel back here, the secret, there's a million other ones underneath it. All mathematics. So it's just one of them things. It's one of them things where it's like, if you're gonna be in a relationship, you gotta have those hard conversations. It ain't all gonna be sunshine and rainbows, nor should you want it to be. You know what I mean?
He just let me get away with shit. That doesn't mean
Yes.
I'm just perfect, you know.
And that's reinforcing bad behavior, and that's also in a sense of like, it may not seem like it, but that's hampering your development.
Yeah.
That's hampering how you go about things, because you're gonna have that assumption that that's how it is, because
that
that's
it's okay to do XYZ.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And signs of that like I said, I'm dealing with that now because that's been a shortcoming for me. Is that a man can't lead if he can't hold his folks accountable.
Fair.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like another thing is like, and I think that you kind of mentioned this earlier, some men will use physical distance to show that they aren't available, like not answering your calls, not answering your texts regularly, like shit like that. But like basically like not wanting you to get too comfortable because like he's not always going to be there, not when you necessarily need him, but when you're expecting him to be. You know, like I had a guy that resurfaced I think it was last year, the year before last, and like we were getting back into this pattern of talking almost every day, like and things were going really good, and then he did the rubber band thing. He pulled away, that hot and cold shit, which is for the birds, and he just stopped hitting me up, and then like he reappeared 2 weeks later, like he didn't just fall off the face of the fucking earth. And you know me, it was a wrap. Like, boy, fuck you. Like, I felt like the closer we were getting, the more he was like, looking too much like a thing, got a blast, like Jimmy Neutron.
This feels weird.
Got a blast. Like, I felt like it was feeling too much like a thing. And so like, you know, I felt like he was creating space to put between us. Does that make sense?
Yes,
like
it does.
You're intentionally falling off the planet, off the face of the earth, because
self-destructive tendencies.
I don't want you to get too used to me being around. I don't want you to get too comfortable. I don't want, like, we've been talking every day for the past couple weeks, but this starting to look like something. And I don't like the way this is feeling. And I feel like in a minute you're about to like make me be vulnerable. So let me pump the brakes. That's exactly what that was. He was pumping the brakes. You're gonna pump the brakes, I'm getting the fuck out the car.
Yep.
Period.
You stopped enough for me to actually roll out on that time. Well, Future say the other word, don't get too comfortable. So yeah, that is true. That is true. And like, because I've had that with women before as well, where like it's like, you know, oh, never mind. Or in the sense of like, oh, there's a dude that I was talking to over there, and that kind of didn't go the way I wanted it to go. And so let me go see what's happening over there. And then you left holding the bag. You know, that happened to a homie of mine. And, you know, it was the same situation. They was rocking steady, like good and steady. And then the dude popped up that she you know did want and didn't work out with. Ghosting him, went high and dry. When that didn't work out, she came crawling back. He like, nah, I recognize that. He said I ain't second fiddle, and that's what it is. And that's what you recognize. Yeah. My mom always said, don't never let a man tell you he don't want you twice.
My mama said that. I said that in another episode. Why our mamas be saying the same thing?
Because hey, it's the same reason we got that same blanket and that same potted set that come out on holidays. We had the same razor.
All Black families are literally the same.
literally. But yeah, that's the truth. It comes to a point where it's like, you gotta choose you, and that's an example where you chose yourself, and that's as you should have. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody just can't be having access to you. Everybody, what mama say, you ain't about to keep coming in and out this house, heating up the whole block. I paid good money for this air. You're gonna close that door, and you're gonna stay out. Pick one.
Accessibility. I talked about that in the hookup culture episode. Everybody cannot have access to you like that because 9 times out of 10 they didn't earn it. You know. Mm-hmm. And you can't just be giving that away freely. A man who got 100% access to me is a husband, period.
Ooh, period. Who in here preaching? What key you in? I'm about to go ahead and make a chord change.
I need to add
pass the bucket around
with an organ.
Pass that bucket. I'm about to play some giving music.
Oh my gosh. Now, I have like something that's big for me is like, I guess you could call this kind of gaslighting, but like I've had conversations with men who like tried to make me feel bad about my thoughts and feelings about relationships. Like I'd be trying to level set with a guy and like he'll like scoff at me like I'll level set and I'll be like, oh, well, you know, I want things to go this way, or this is what my expectations are, or these are things I've been seeing. And he'll just scoff and be like, oh, so you want a boyfriend? Like I had a man do that. You know what I mean? And I'm just like,
yeah, I can picture it.
He tried to make me feel bad. And so for a few seconds, I was like, no, I don't want a boyfriend. And I was like, wait. What if I did?
Yes.
What if I did?
That's
Trying to
salesman
make me
tactics.
feel bad.
That's salesman's tactics.
Just bullshit. And it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just establishing what I think looks like a healthy relationship or a healthy partnership or, just a healthy dating situation. And you're all, oh, you want a boyfriend, huh? Like, trying to make me feel bad about normal shit. And that's my thing. I don't judge people for their needs, Micah. If you want a fuck buddy, then do that. If you want a wife, cool. You want to be in the streets, cool. But stop trying to chastise people who don't want to date and fuck casually. Like we're asking for too much or we're doing too much. Like dudes just be so damaged and they're just like, oh, y'all are out here seriously dating people. Y'all out here getting in relationships. Grow the fuck up. If you want to have fuck buddies, then do that. But don't sit up here and act like people who want some serious commitment, like there's something wrong with them. No, there's something wrong with you, damaged goods. Like you're the one with the emotional issues. We want what we want. Your inability to make an emotional connection is a you issue. And it's like, after that situation, I refuse to let a man make me feel bad about wanting some healthy intimacy. And emotional connection is a form of intimacy. But they be trying it.
Yeah, they do. They do. I'll even go a step further. It's the entitlement for me. It's the entitlement because you get a couple of success stories. You're like, what woman wouldn't want to be, a casual partner of mine?
Right.
I look good on paper, I'm handsome, I got good money, the cars fly. It ain't paid off, but I'm paying on it. I stay by myself. I'm on my mama couch. What person wouldn't want to rock with the kid? What I mean? And then you tell them no, it's like you tell them, what's wrong with you? And and like you said, you gotta let people rock. You gotta leave people where they at sometimes.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they be entitled, and then when you tell them no, that's when the bad come out. You see that oftentimes when like dudes step up to a girl and they say no, and then it's like, well you was ugly then anyway.
Yeah.
Same energy. And I always feel like understand your expectations and stand by them, because what they try to do with that is, like you said, it's gaslighting. So make you doubt. It's to make you doubt it, that that's what you really want.
And I did, Micah. I was shook for a second. I was like, I don't want a boy. Yes, the fuck I do. And what about it?
Exactly. And because that's the normal thing is that people don't handle being challenged well sometimes. And especially is one of those things where you come to grips with like, no, that is what I want. And God damn it, I'm gonna get it. And you ain't about to make me feel bad about it. Because that's what I
relationship.
That's what I desire and that's what I require. So next time that happens, you say, you sure right? You want an application or you want to get out the way?
Period.
Pick one. Pick one. Pull up on their bump the way they pull up on y'all's, man. Because one thing I'll say about women, y'all women, y'all let us get away with stuff. And we take, and a lot of times we take advantage of that and we take it. And that's our problem. And that's what we need to do. Y'all gotta pull up on these dudes' bumpers, and y'all are getting good at that in this day and age. I would go give y'all prop. Y'all do an amazing job of holding dudes accountable, and that's great. And
shout
man,
out
we
to
need to do
your single friend.
Yes. And man, we need to do that. We need to do a better job of that ourselves. And I'm trying to be the change that I want to see in the world. So, I'm in the spotlight. I'm in the summer jam screen too. When I say that, we have to do a better job of holding each other accountable, because we're not getting good at it, and they need to, because they're the ones that have the most to lose when things go wrong, namely their life. And that's something we got to deal with, and we got to come to grips with that. The quicker we do, the quicker we can make this a little bit better. But yes, you have an expectation of how you want things to be, stand by it. And if they don't want to rock with it, cool, get out the way. There's 7 billion people in the world, and law averages dictate you got to win at least once. And when I mean at least once, at the floor, there's going to be somebody that's going to bang with it. It might be 10 more folks out of that. It may be 100,000 folks after that. But it's somebody out there that's going to roll with that expectation. And you got to find it.
We be, I've said this earlier, we be having this issue with.
Y'all don't be thinking y'all can find no better.
Exactly. But that was it for me. You're not going to sit up here and take jabs at me for wanting a relationship, or like make me feel like I'm too serious or I'm being too intense with my emotions. Like, you're not going to gaslight me. And that's the thing. Like I said, if you feel like casual dating is the way, that's cool. But don't make me feel inferior, or don't make me feel like I'm too emotional or I'm less than, because I want something more sustainable. That is the issue I have. And that goes back to my grievances earlier about the lack of honesty. Like, I would love to see, and this is just wishful thinking, I would love to see a day and age where we could just be honest about our intentions and about what we want, and just let people make their own decisions accordingly. If a man tell you, I don't want to be in a relationship, and you still pursue him, baby, that's on you. You know what I mean? But if you've not given me that, and I'm just going out here and I'm having to piece together what you say and what you doing all the things, but the shit you saying ain't matching that, or vice versa. You know what I mean? I would love to see a situation where, you know, people were honest, but that requires a level of self-awareness that honestly, Micah, I don't feel like the male species gets to until it's too late, or until
negative
they're much
reinforcement.
older.
We get some things blow back on us and things of that nature. Because that's the reason why dudes do that, is because they don't want to miss out. You know, it's a manipulation tactic, like you stated earlier. It's emotionally manipulative, because dudes gonna tell you what you want to hear. What have I always told you? There's two types of dudes. We all trying to score. At the at the macro level, there's two types of dudes. It's scoring is the priority. Getting to know you is the bonus. He can care less if he can care less what your favorite color is. He can care less about when your birthday is. He'll catch it on Facebook anyway and pull up then as a means of coming back with the rubber band method. But you got a dude that's trying to get to know you, and sex is the bonus. If you do all those things, that's gonna come regardless. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you do such and such, right? You know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, the goal is the same. The game and the method is different. Now that's just the macro level. It's some webs from there, of course, but from the straight up baseline point, you got that's pretty much how it goes. Yeah. You know what I mean? And when you know pretty early, women don't want to do, that's all you're trying to do. But y'all try to change it.
But you hitting on something right here, because that was one of my notes too. In dating, early days, he quickly trying to jump into sexual conversations or trying to turn a relationship sexual. That's a sign. Sex is a sign.
Them home dates.
The speed at which sex happens, and I've said this before, like, listen, if you want to fuck whatever, but this is why, like, ladies, those of us who are looking for something more, we have to watch ourselves, because like we gone, let's keep it 100 women, we be ready to get down too, probably on day one. If we fuck with you, we know, you know what I mean? But like, some men like to skip over the other forms of connection and intimacy because they're not interested in that at all. And so it's like, I've had situations like that where it's like, man, I be wanting to fuck a dude so bad, but it's like, I call it smoke them out a bit. I have to give you the chance to see what's going to happen. And that's why I got my rule of threes: 3 weeks, 3 months. You talk about my, you know, like, it is what it is. I have to let some time pass just to see what the guy is hitting for. Not physically, but on another level. You know what I mean? And so men who quickly they do the home dates, or hell, they may wine and dine you, take you out. They might love bomb you. I think love bombing is a sign of emotional unavailability, because why are you doing that?
It's a narcissistic tendency. It's a narcissistic tendency.
I think love bombing is a form of that, but definitely that sex thing, you know what I mean, it's coming really, really early, like, or just, you know, I mean, we are sexual beings, but I've said this before, as women, if you want something, just wait a couple weeks. I don't believe in 90-day rules. I don't believe in putting a time frame on sex. I believe in practicing discernment and figuring out who is this person and what does he want. Like you said, both men want to score, but one of them is going to have different tactics in the way he does that, because he's actually trying to get to know you. You know what I mean? And like you said, the sex is just the cherry on top, but he's not going to be first 2 conversations. So when you're trying to come over, you know what I mean? Or, you know,
about the whole coming over thing, I need y'all women to start robbing these dudes. Please do.
Same.
Please. Because listen, I'm from a day and time. You ain't just have anybody in your house. You got these strangers coming over your house on the first day and they rob you. I got no sympathy for you, because you was an easy mark from the get-go. They got Pookie Joe looking Ray in the alley just waiting on your stupid ass because you had the audacity to think that this was gonna be cool. You don't know that one from the paint on the wall. And you have her run up being, so ladies, start robbing these dudes. Please.
Micah,
please,
you out here illegal advice, and I
Listen,
agree because
what they do with it is their business. What they do with it is, my daddy always say, it's my job to preach the word, not enforce it. What you do with it is on you.
that's my whole thing. I'm just like, man, it even happened with COVID. I was like, you really gonna invite me over? This was like in the thick of the pandemic. And he was just like, well, I ain't got nothing. Do you got something? Nah, I don't got nothing. Like what? Like, I agree. Rob, these men.
Don't be too horny and you missing the TV. You out here whole time. What was that Ari Lennox and Queen Naija song? Set them up. Don't get set up. Don't get captured. Don't get captured. And men, but like not, man, we gotta do a better job of that too. We gotta understand what we want. And like you said, be honest, be straight up with it, man. If Shawty ain't messing with it, there's somebody else that do it. That's what you want to do. Let that be what you want to do. But like,
but be
go
honest.
out there and find that. Go out there and find that. Man. You get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar.
Thank you. The theme is honesty here. If you were honest and said, I would not like a relationship, I would like to get my dick wet. There are women who are about it. I know them. I love them. There are women who are about it. You would be surprised, but I just feel like some men like the fact that I won't use the word coerce because that gets into icky territory, but like, they like that, like, she said she wasn't fucking after until we've been together in a relationship. Hold my beer, watch this. You know, like.
What was that in what was that thin line between love and hate? And Bobby Brown was like, if you can get the panties without saying I love you, then you won the game.
Ghetto. Very, very ghetto.
Very much so.
I was reading this quote when I was like looking up stuff about this, and it says, emotionally unavailable men don't think they need to say they are sorry or own up to something that may have offended or hurt you or someone else for that matter. Furthermore, they're good at emotionally manipulating people. They tend to always play the victim. When I tell you, I almost jumped out my chair because this was the exact situation where I would address this man about this shit. I always did something wrong. It was always my fault that he was acting the way he was. Like, I had checked him about what I felt like was mistreatment, and he just made it seem like it was my fault every time. And it became a thing where he was always the fucking victim. And
like he was tripping.
Like it was me. And it's like, that's just what's so lame about these men, because it's like, you're not even owning up to your own emotional terrorism. I'm here for the men who are just like, I dog hoes, it is what it is. You can get it, your mama can get it, your granny can get it. Like, my whole thing is, if you're going to sin boldly. Be loud and proud about your fuck shit. But you sitting up here, what they call it, you punching and then you hiding your face afterwards.
Oh, like, throwing the rock and hiding your hand.
Yeah, I don't fuck with that at all. Always playing the goddamn victim.
Yes.
I'm clearly very bothered about this.
Yes, I see. That's what I'm here for. That's what you got me here for.
I am very passionate about this subject.
Yes, but not and like even not even the sense of the date says, can't nobody respect nobody. They can't stand by what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like how am I gonna rock with you? How am I gonna rock with you if you can't even be own up to your word? You know what I mean?
You can't even be honest with yourself.
Exactly. Like you know,
you ain't never doing nothing wrong.
Respect to the check it. You know, and that flipping and things of that nature, like you tripping, nah, that's a sign. But that's also narcissistic tendencies.
Yeah.
Also a narcissistic tendency, and it's like I said, you know, there are people at times, like I said, that there's people who always try to like give to cover up their own type of things, right? There are people that make themselves the victim because that's the only level of kind of attention they're gonna get. I don't know. I'm about to go on my anime side a little bit, but like folks who watch Naruto, the whole point was Naruto was an orphan in the village. And nobody really paid him much mind. So he used to do these pranks in the village to get attention, to get scolded at. And that was so like there was like in the first episode, they had this monument that's kind of like Mount Rushmore, and it's full of all the old village leaders. And what Naruto did to get attention, he's painting the face all out in front in broad daylight because he want to be seen.
Just acting a fool.
Yes, he act a fool because
you know that's fool with your pants
on the ground. That's the only way he gonna get some attention. And folks that folks sometimes that be playing like they're the victim, that's the only way they've ever got attention. They make a problem and then they holler about the fact that they don't get no attention. That's part of it where it comes from. That's the only way they're gonna get that love that they feel they want.
It's just ridiculous. It is just
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. And it's just like, man, that when I say I was reading that and that triggered me because I'm just like, this is exactly what he did. Every single thing, every single instance was an excuse. There was never an apology. There was never anything where it was just like, you know what? I did not call you back all weekend. You're right. You know what I mean? Like I got busy and
My
that
bad.
wasn't acceptable. And that's not going to happen again. It was never like that. It was just like, oh, my bad. You know what I mean? And it's just like, but any other time it's like, either he's not taking accountability or he's the victim and it's my fault that he did what he did.
Yeah.
I am in the business of dating grown-ass men.
Ooh.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that is my expectation.
A man gonna accept when he mess up.
He is. And shit happens. And to the earlier point, like women, we are very forgiving. So it's like if you really just had a lot of shit going on, like, and you just let me know, that's my whole thing. Just let me know what's up. You know what I mean? If you say, hey, this weekend I'm not gonna be available, I got X, Y, and Z going on, like I'll call you first thing Monday morning, blah, blah, blah. That's different. You know what I mean? But like give me that full disclosure. But just like, and then I gotta bring it up, like, hello, I haven't heard from you all weekend. What the fuck? Always victim.
I'll say that dudes have a problem with the check-in. I had a problem with it because I felt like it was a case of like manipulating my time and my space, but I had to grow out of that to understand the perspective of it's just it's a way of setting expectations.
It's not even a check-in though. It's not even that. It's just that like when you fuck with somebody, I know in the time frame that had passed that I hadn't heard from him that weekend, I had thought about him. And so it's like for me, what made me say I was a wrap is the fact that it's been 3 days and you've not said, let me see what Jazmine big head ass doing. You know what I mean? It's been 3 days and you may have missed a message from me, you know what I mean, before the weekend. You may have gotten busy. Again, I can be accommodating with full disclosure.
Yes.
But no, it's like you didn't. That was it for me, honestly. It wasn't the fact I didn't hear it. It was the fact that I didn't hear from him, but it was more so the fact that you didn't even think of me. I get that you were busy, but you didn't even think to tell me, like, hey, I hadn't heard from you on weekend, and I thought about you, but you didn't think about me.
Yeah, I had to learn that too. I had to learn that too, in the sense of like, you know, because like a lot of times dudes aren't used to doing that. And like in the sense of it's just, it slips your mind sometimes, but when you come privy to that and you know that, it's like, let me just go ahead and, let them know what's up. It ain't gotta be on the whole like I got stuff to do or something like that. You could just be in the middle of something, you just be like, hey, I had to get away for a hot second, blah, 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 blah. Just let it be known. It's just those little things. And a lot of times dudes aren't good with the little things. And it's a thing that has to be taught and developed, and it takes a lot of patience. But if you got a dude that's willing to learn and do those things, then cool. A lot of dudes ain't.
I feel you. Now, we can go ahead and wrap up this segment. I did just want to wrap it up with, as people are listening to this episode, and what if they realize I'm already dating someone who is exhibiting these behaviors and who is unavailable? Do you suggest they just call it, break up? Do you suggest that they try to salvage the situation? What should a person who recognizes that someone they're seeing is not emotionally available, what should they do?
Pull the card. Like, I don't mean like break up, but I say like bring it to the doorstep, because 9 times out of 10, the fact that you recognize that to listen to this, probably already kind of had that thought in the first place. But you have to, but I'm a person that's like big on grace and in all things, get an understanding. And I'm gonna give it a good college try to say like, hey, this is what I feel. This is how I've been perceiving it. We can have this discussion. You know what I mean? And if they ain't willing to have the discussion, or it doesn't go away, you got to understand that from that discussion, it's gonna go either this way, and y'all work on it, y'all stay together, or it's gonna go the other way, and you got to go do what's best for you. You know what I mean? I say in all facets of all things, do what's best for you. And if you want to try to make that work, you got to see if that other person is willing to make it work. You can't just decide for them, because that ain't fair to them. And you ain't got that kind of juice. You ain't got the juice like that, homie. But you have to have that discussion. And once you figure out what you need to figure out, then make your move. Never make a move too soon. Because you could break something up and they was willing to work on it. They didn't recognize it or they didn't know, or you had to bring it to their attention, because that's what it's going to be like in a marriage, right?
Mm,
You gotta have those hard discussions, because
yeah.
just because stuff don't look good don't mean you can just run up and leave. You made vows before God. You got to try. You got to talk. You got to communicate. And you know who you married in the sense of a relationship. You know who you got with. And y'all are supposed to grow together. You got to give people those opportunities to either rise to the occasion or flounder and fail. And either way it goes, you got to make a decision either way. So
But
be
you got to be
comfortable.
ready to
Yes.
make some moves if
Yes.
they don't
You
step
want to
up
drop
in a
with it.
real way.
Exactly. And that's fine, because there will be somebody out there that will. Sometimes God takes something away from us that we thought we wanted and he got something better.
Yep.
It'd be that way sometimes, but that's what this all is. It's all a matter of you got to try. You got to see.
Okay.
And once you see what you need to see, you make your move. That's my advice.
Fair. We'll go ahead and wrap up this segment. All right, guys, now it's time for the dating tip of the week. Now, as you know, we have a guest host. So, Micah, do the honors.
All right. I feel like, I've been hard on the homies today, but somebody has to be, and it's got to start with me, because women, it ain't their job to do. So my advice to the fellas, dating wise and pretty much life wise, be vulnerable and apologize to yourself. Come to grips with what you aren't comfortable with and grow. Because if you just leave those things festered and you leave that garden untended, it's just gonna seep into everything else in your life. If your job situation ain't gonna be right, your money ain't gonna be right, because you're gonna mess up those opportunities to get your money. Because I know that's what we value as well, right? And you'll feel better about yourself as it goes along, and it'll help everything that's with it. So be vulnerable, be open, and be open to more perspectives, because you ain't always right either. You know what I mean? So hold yourself accountable, pretty much at the crux of it all.
Okay, I like that. Dating tip of the week. It sounds like you're saying be vulnerable.
Yes.
All right, guys, now it's time for Down in the DMs. This is where you guys send me letters, questions, anything that you want us to answer. If you have any questions or scenarios you want to send me, feel free to shoot an email to listentoyoursinglefriend@gmail.com or shoot me a DM. Micah, I need a name. Let me read this real quick. This is for a woman. I need a name for a woman.
Let's go LaTanya.
LaTanya?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. It says, Dear Jazmine, my boyfriend and I have been dating for 3 years and have been very serious in our relationship. We live in New York right now. However, my boyfriend has recently asked to relocate to Chicago for work, and he really wants to take the job as it is a great career move. What should we do? I don't want to force him to stay, but I don't really want to move to Chicago, and I don't have a job set up there like he does. What should we do? Should we just do long distance, or should I go with him? That is from LaTanya.
Ooh, yeah.
Micah, have you ever done a long distance relationship?
Nah. I used to be very close to it, but now I can afford plane tickets now, so I'm not
Period.
really.
Long distance don't exist when you're grown, honey.
Like, listen, it ain't tricking if you got it, right? And if I'm gonna pull up, I'm gonna pull up. I drove 36 hours from Flint to get to California, so another 4-hour plane ride ain't nothing to me.
Okay.
So,
I'm gonna let you take a stab at it, because you're the guest.
Yes. I'll say I really think that you should reevaluate what is important in your relationship. And y'all been rocking together 3 years. Seriously, what if y'all was married and this happened? Then what? You gonna stay behind and let him just go? Or you gonna go with him, or y'all gonna do the long distance thing? Because those are the type of things that are at that crux that you gotta have an understanding about. And if it's a great job for him to do, it is gonna progress him forward. I'm inclined to believe that he should do that. You know what I mean? But that's if he wants to. If y'all have that discussion and y'all have that thing that y'all want to do this thing together, whether long distance or in the same spot, but you don't want to go, that's something for y'all to discuss. But I think, me personally, if it was me, I'm going. This is my gig. Like, that's the game. And And if the shoe was on the other foot, I don't mind following. You know what I mean? It's like Mike in the Wood when old girl got that job in New York. He got his tail up and hijacked it across the way, because that's what I'm willing to do. If it's a better situation for my woman and it's gonna do something for her, that benefits me as well. And I'm an actuary. I can get a job anywhere. I can find it. You know what I mean? But that's what I'm willing to do. You have to ask yourself, what are you willing to do to make this work? Because if you go and you can't do long distance, or y'all decide to do long distance, those are the things you have to consider. What are you willing to do?
Fair. I think that's a good point, Micah. When we name her Latanya,
Yep.
For me, as a woman, I feel like women are more likely to follow their men.
Mm-hmm.
My thing would be you evaluating what the future looks like. Mm-hmm. Because I know for me personally, I wouldn't mind following a man who's creating a space for me.
Ooh, yes.
But he would have to be creating a space for me, you know? So
elaborate on that real quick. Elaborate on that.
Yep. What I'm getting at is marriage coming. It is a proposal coming soon. Mm-hmm. Is, you know, can he sustain our household on his income in where they're going, Chicago? Can he sustain our household on his income? What if I never find something out there? Can he sustain us by himself?
You hold down the block.
Exactly. While I figure it out. Or if I do take something, or if I, work, be a secretary or a personal assistant or something that's just, not a big career move, but just something, smaller. What if I work part-time? Is he going to be able to sustain us by himself? Would be my first thing. Because he would have to also consider your skill set, Like I'm just coming at it from, I went to business school.
True.
I'm just coming at it from that perspective. Does this make sense logistically?
Yes.
Because if you are an attorney, you can find a job eventually. You know what I mean? Like Mike said, you're an actuary, you can find a job eventually. You work in insurance, like certain skill sets, you will be able to find a job eventually, even if you don't find one immediately upon the first couple of months. But that's the thing. Can he hold down the fort without you? Is question number one. Question number two, well, a part of question number one is, I personally, 3 years, it got to be a ring.
I knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming. It gotta be a ring before we leave New York or within the first 6 months. If I ain't been proposed to and we've been in Chicago for 6 months, I'm taking my black ass back home. Yeah. Like, I'm going back home. I know situations where people have moved for a partner and it did not work out. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's just like, you're not about to have me out here looking stupid. Like, I'm keeping it a stack. So 1A is there going to be a marriage? 1B is, can he hold down the fort by himself? And then number 2, I guess, would be, like I said, looking into the future. Would that be something that you would want? You know what I mean? Like, would you be okay with, you may not find something within your skill set out here. Would you be like, would you be resentful? Because I feel like that happens a lot where a woman loses sight. You might get there. He got the house. You ain't got to work, boo. But like, you start popping up them kids and 10 years go by and you're just like, man, I really hate him because like, I never wanted to be out here. I never wanted to do this. I had dreams of my own. I had aspirations. I had things in New York. I had contacts and resources and connects. You know what I mean? We got to look at it from all sides. So I would.
You got a choice in this too, because you ain't got to go if you don't want to go, but you got to understand that's the game. That's what comes with being with him. Something's going to have to change. And it sounds like it's a conversation they need to have since they've been 3 years serious. Like I said, sometimes people got to get pushed off that cliff.
Yeah.
Conversation may lead in a direction that you ain't foresee coming in the first place. But that's the game.
It could be a situation where you put your foot down and said, I ain't going no goddamn where until we're married. And you stay in New York. And listen, pressure bust pipes, okay? You stay in New York and he know he wants your ass in Chicago. He gonna make a way.
He gonna make something happen.
he gonna make something shake, boo. But Latanya, I wish you the best of luck. I would love to hear follow-up. Y'all need to be sending me follow-ups because some of these are like really good questions. And I was just like, I want to know what happened.
Real quick, Latanya, make a decision and stick with it, because the decision you make is one that works for you. Do what's best for you. And if being with him in Chicago is what's best for you, go on to Chicago. If being in New York and not being with him is what's best for you, do what's best for you. If it's something in the middle, do what's best for you.
Period. All right, guys, now it's time for trivia. Micah, you cannot answer this. This will be answered on the next episode. So think about it in your brain, okay?
It's hard for me to shut up, so I do the best I can.
Quiet. On average, people are spending about blank every day on dating apps looking for someone special.
Mm-hmm.
Is it A, 15 minutes every day? B, 45 minutes every day? C, an hour and a half every day? Or D, 2 hours every day? How much time are people spending every day on dating apps looking for someone special?
I want to hear this. I got no idea.
You'll have to find out in next week's episode. All right, guys, that wraps up the show. Micah, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you joined me. I was super excited about this topic. And like I said, I needed a guy friend that's going to like understand my grievances and be able to speak for the other side, but also catch my drift. You know, I feel like you did good with that. You got some socials to drop on us? You want the girls to know?
Let me go and pull open the phone. I'm mainly on Twitter. You can catch me on Twitter at KingStewart94. And Instagram, for the most part, it will be King Mike _Stew92.
All righty. Micah, this is good. This is
good.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I wanted to use this opportunity to kind of like bear my sins and show my scars a little bit. You know, I've been doing some healing in this time of singledom, and you know, I typically keep things close to the chest. So this was kind of new for me to kind of be a little open with it, you know, and I appreciate you having me on. And like I said, whenever you need me, you know, holler at me. I'm available. I ain't doing much nothing but pricing insurance.
We appreciate the vulnerability, Micah, because I feel like so many times, like men, you know, they be wanting to put on, and I feel like because this subject was about something that was like so not sensitive, but something that required a level of vulnerability and a level of introspection. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to handle this like with kids' gloves. I really wanted somebody who was going to be honest about what emotional availability versus unavailability look like. So I'm excited. I'm so happy that you joined us. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Make sure to follow Micah. Hit him up on Twitter. Hit him up on socials. He is single. Yes. Micah, are you looking? Like, you want them to be in your DMs? Is your DMs open?
Nothing established. So
all right, you hesitated. So, ladies, do what you wish with that.
do what you wish. Do what you
wish with that.
I can only determine how I react. Not what y'all do.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. Guys, I am at 30 reviews on Apple, which is awesome. But I've been at 30 reviews for like 2 months. So what I need y'all to do right this second is go write me a review. Y'all always tell me how much I love this show. Run my reviews up, okay? Review, share with your friends, share with that man that you feel like is emotionally unavailable. Share this show far and wide. We taking over this year. Listen to your single friend. We in this thing. Love you guys. Talk to you next week.